let's get to the advisory now, and the so-called sandwich carers, those caught between caring for both their children and their ageing parents, are often left burnt out at the cost of their own careers and savings. To discuss how to better manage this stage of your life, I'm joined by financial coach Betsy Westcott. Betsy, great to have you with us. This is a really tricky part, isn't it? Because you're in that stage of your career and life when you're trying to build wealth, but then you're also taking care of two separate generations.
Yeah, and the pressure comes from both sides because we have elderly Australians living a lot longer in life and often with more complex health needs requiring that additional support, namely from family. And then our children are staying at home with us much longer because of those cost of living challenges. And so not only does that take a toll on our emotions, on our time, physically sometimes as well, but there's that financial pressure. And we don't have really great data here in Australia, but globally the research suggests that it costs on average about $10,000 extra to provide this care, particularly in the sandwich generation. And then it also takes up about 1,300 hours extra per annum. And so what this means is that that can impact an individual's ability to work and build their career. That impacts the income coming through the door, and then that means that there's less money available to save and invest, impacting our ability to save for retirement, pay down debt, and just adhere to our own financial goals and needs. So it's a sandwich that's anything but tasty.
Yeah, but how do you sort of negotiate that? Because obviously you're not going to ditch a family member, but how do you manage the costs here?
Managing the costs, it's really important to have very open conversations with your family, particularly, with an elder family member, maybe less so the kids, although it's always good to have open money conversations with children. So with the family members, you really want to make this an open and a positive conversation and an ongoing conversation as different things come up, different needs change. So you want to cover the basics, like what's the income coming in, what are the expenses that we need to take on and address here, is there any debt that we need to manage and look after, as well as what assets are in the mix. The other thing that's really important is making sure that you make the most of services and payments available to you. So it could be carers allowance or support payments. There can be tax deductions available. So I would head to the Services Australia website and check out some of the resources there, or Carers Gateway is another great place to look at. And then most importantly, do you have all those important legal documents in place in case something happens where someone's capacity deteriorates? So things like, is there a will in place? Where is it? Powers of attorney, advanced health directives, enduring guardianships, just knowing what that individual wants and taking care of that, so that in the moment where something happens and the stress is high, you know exactly what to do. And it's not just about taking care of their money and their financial well-being as well as their health and all of those things, but making sure that you still keep time and capacity to address your own needs and your own financial health as well.
Well, then how can employers help as well? Because as you say, a lot of this work is invisible, it's behind the scenes, it's at home. If you are a carer, do you let your workplace know?
Often people don't even recognise themselves as carers. It's almost like this is an inherent part of life. They don't denote it as another role that they have. So they can often be a little bit, hesitant to speak up in case it impacts their work. So as a workplace, things that you can do is offer flexibility and a culture that allows people to feel supported at work without necessarily having to raise their hand. So that could be flexible working arrangements like early start times or split shifts. It could be offering extended hours or the ability to job share, or even offering a 4-day work week can be really useful, as well as making sure that people know what resources are available to support them through that time in terms of carers leave and so forth.
It's interesting you put down here as well, though, go for a promotion, because at the same time when you're trying to balance all this, do you want to take on more risk, or is that actually the reward at the end?
Well, it's all about making sure you're still looking after, putting on your own oxygen mask, adhering to taking care of your own personal finances. So if there is a promotion available, go for it and see if you can build in that flexibility. And then the second thing is perhaps you're in a shift role, going for the shifts that have the higher rate of pay. So growing up, my mum was a nurse. She always took the night shift so that she could, get that higher rate of pay and have more productivity from the shift, but also be available for the pickups and the drop-ups. So really thinking through how can I adapt my schedule to kind of get the best of all worlds.
Okay, so we talk here then as having those conversations. How do you sort of then manage your own finances and cut back on things that potentially you don't need to be spending on?
Yeah, so when the budget's tight, you've got two levers. It's drive up that income or reduce those expenses. So first thing with the expenses is try and renegotiate or find savings on those really big ticket items. You often get the best bang for buck there. So even something like negotiating a lower rate on your home loan. You negotiate a discount of 1% on a $600,000 home loan, that's $6,000 a year in savings in an instant. Comparing your bills using comparison sites is a really great way to do it. And then there's the smaller everyday things like looking at your spending. Where can I cut back on spending that's lower priority? How can I be a little bit savvier? So using, dining apps, shopping apps, petrol apps to find savings and just really cut back in that way. And then on the income side, it's yes, where can I dial up my opportunity to earn more, or even just be a little bit more savvy around, things like using Facebook Marketplace to, sell items that you're no longer using and just get a little bit of a boost in income that way. Cashback sites are also great ways to boost your income too.
Superannuation is another big one. What are your sort of tips on boosting your super or increasing your super, particularly when we look ahead here to the end of tax season?
Oh yes, well, it's a great time to be looking to see if you could make any additional contributions. Now, the most popular way is always through salary sacrificing, so foregoing some of your income, offsetting some of that tax and getting more money into super. Consolidating your super if you have more than one fund, but always be mindful to check that you're not accidentally cancelling some insurances you may wish to hold on to. Making sure that you're with a fund that actually has really good performance. Now, there is a service within the MyGov app, Compare My Super, I believe it's called, which will show you how your fund's performing against others. What you're looking for is low fees and a really solid performance that's matched with your investment risk appetite. And then one that not all of the viewers might be aware of is that cashback app. There is one called Grow My Money where you spend money on your everyday purchases and get a little bit of cash back on those purchases. And rather than it going into your pocket today, it might be $20, $30 here and there, that's nice. But instead it redirects towards your super where it can compound and grow and have a bigger effect on your overall
What's
balance.
that one called?
It's called Grow My Money. It's founded by a lady here in Sydney and it's a fabulous app.